everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Robin, or A Hobbit's Reading List, and today we are going to talk about the 5-star reads that I've had so far this year as of July 11th. This year, so far, I've read 52 books, and 9 of them have been 5-star reads, which is not a terrible percentage, I think. The other books have ranged from 1 star, only 1, to primarily 3.5, 4, 4.5 stars. But 5 stars are still pretty rare. I'm able to hold them in my hands, as you'll have seen on the thumbnail. So I thought I would just go through, because I think it really gives an overview of like what sort of writing I like, what sort of stories I like, and if you have similar taste to me, then you're definitely going to want to read these. So I'm going to go in order from when I read them. In February, I read the Check Please series. It's a graphic novel about a guy named Eric Biddle. His nickname is Biddy, and he used to be a figure skater, and he joins his college hockey team and moves into the hockey house, and it's mainly about like his relationships with the team, but he does get into a romantic relationship with a teammate, which is very cute. And it's just like really, really adorable. So the second volume is actually the one that I gave 5 stars. This one, I think I gave like a 4.5 because pacing, but the second volume was just totally deserving of 5 stars. It addressed everything that I wanted it to, and it was just like, it was a really nice way to sort of wrap up the series, which is always what you want. So if you like cute, cozy, funny graphic novels, definitely check out Check Please. Also in February, I read When the Angels Left the Old Country by Sacha. This is so good. I ended up picking it for the book club that I run at my temple. Everyone else loved it. It was just so freaking good. It's about an angel and a demon who are Havruta, which is Torah study partners. And they've been Havruta for thousands of years. And they work together to find a young woman from their village that has gone to America but has gone silent, and so her father is very concerned, and so they go to America to find her. And along the way they see how things are just in this time. I believe it's in the 1920s, 1930s. I could be wrong, it might be 1910s. It's somewhere around there. But they work together, and they have a very close, like, unique relationship, and I really enjoyed it. If you want to learn more about Jewish folklore, like, definitely check it out. And if you love good writing, definitely check it out. Like, it was really good. Also in February was a very good month for me. Also in February, I read Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. If you are on queer booktube, queer book Instagram, queer book talk, like queer book anything, you'll know that this book has been made into a movie and it's coming out in August. It's not an ad, just an explanation of why you've seen it everywhere. And it deserves it. It was really fun, really cute, really heartwarming. It is about this guy named Alex, who is the son of the president, and Henry, who is a prince of England. And they have never really gotten along because they both are attracted to each other, and so they deal with it by being mean. But they're put into a situation where they have to play nice for the press to avoid like a diplomatic thing, and they get closer and closer and closer. And it's adorable, and it's super good. And have you noticed a trend so far with the books that I like? They're all cute, they're all adorable, they're all heartwarming. I like happy endings, and I really like it if the happy ending starts at the beginning. In April, I picked up Wolfsong by TJ Klune. This is a little bit of a break from the mold because it's not super, like, it is cute at parts, but it's not fluffy. Like, there's a definite plot. It gets heartbreaking at times, but it's still really good. The writing is really good. I have said it before, and I will say it again in this video. TJ Klune writes emotions so well. He does such a good job with them, and I just love it. So Wolfsong is about this guy named Ox. His neighbors are a pack of werewolves. And he ends up falling for one of the sons. And their relationship is just like, I love it. I also like TJ Klune for his series. His writing style is different than in his standalones, which I should really appreciate. I feel like it's a little more like sarcastic. And so I really enjoy that. So that was fun for me to see. At the end of April, I picked up the first book in the Monster series by Lily Mayne, which is Soul Eater. The reason I say it like that is because if you watch my vlogs, you know that I'm in love with this series, and I can't get enough of it. So it's no surprise that the first book was a 5-star. It was everything I wanted. The Monster series is a post-apocalyptic MM monster romance. Like, that's the best summary I can give it. Essentially, monsters came from this other world and invaded Earth, essentially. And so the military essentially took over in America, and there are all these, like, big cities on the coasts, but they're, like, not great to live in. And so there are a good amount of people who live in the wastes, which is more of, like, the Midwest in America. And in this story, we follow Danny, who is part of the military because there are very few other options. And he ends up attracting the attention of the Soul Eater, which is this monster that is believed to just go on, like, random killing sprees, sucking the souls out of humans. Danny finds out that that's not true, and they end up falling in love. And it's just lovely. And I was talking to Jess from Books Past Bedtime last night about it, and I was pretty much just like, there's not a lot of plot, and I recognize that. A lot of it's just them walking and getting to know each other, and I love that. That's exactly what I want. So, yeah, this is 5 stars. Plus, the smut is like, it's hot. It's good. Good job. In May, I read Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. So this is one of his standalones. It's about a guy named Wallace who dies and is brought by his Reaper to Chiron's Crossing, which is a tea shop where Hugo, the ferryman, is there to help him and guide him to the next stage of his afterlife. And Wallace does not want to go. Wallace was not a very good person, and he starts off a little rough, but his afterlife is sort of focused on being the person he probably should have been while he was alive. But it's never too late. It's never too late. So I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a really refreshing take on, like, on the afterlife and found family, and it was just so good. He writes emotions so well. It kind of, like, makes me mad because I can't do that. In June, I read A Ghost in the Throat by Dorian Negrifa. I absolutely love this. Dorian Negrifa is a poet, and you can tell in the way that she writes prose. It's just so lyrical and flowing and impactful, and the writing style alone would have gotten it a 5-star. But the subject matter, it just put it over the top. So pretty much, this is essentially a memoir of Dorian Negrifa and her, like, obsession with this 18th century poet called Eileen de McConnell, who wrote The Keene of Art O'Leary, who was her husband who was murdered. And Dorian is essentially obsessed with this poem and wants to translate it from Irish to English, but also just find out anything she can about the poet, because it's pointed out that like a lot of times in history the women get ignored or get pushed to the side, or they're only part of the story for as long as they did something and then they're just gone. Whereas that's very different from how men are remembered in history. And so I really appreciated that take as well, especially as someone who has gone through this thing of like being obsessed with this like historical figure and wanting to know absolutely everything about them. So I just really loved it. I felt seen in that way, but it was also just really interesting to get to learn about this piece of Irish history that I had no idea about. And then in July, yes, that's the month we're in now. It is now the 11th, so I'm just gonna, I'm pretty sure I'm like a little over halfway through the year. I haven't actually figured out like what is the halfway point, but you know what, it's fine. So I'm gonna talk about them. So I don't know how to intro these books because it's not surprising, but also like if you take a percentage of the 5-star reads that I have, I think it says something about me. Because in July I read The Rycke by Lily Mayne and Win by Lily Mayne. So The Rycke is the third book in the series. Win is a novella. It's like 3.5 essentially. And I gave them both 5 stars because I love this series. I just love it. So The Rycke follows a guy named Ghost who is a raider in the wastes, and he lives in a camp, and when he's out scavenging with a friend of his, they come across a monster that is chained up and obviously needs help, and they decide to help him and bring him back to the camp so he can be healed. And by doing that, Ghost meets the being that he, you know, that sees him. And by doing that, Ghost and the Rycke, whose name is Ari, just get very close and end up falling for each other. They all end up falling for each other. Like, come on, how can you resist? Because it's, and I will say, the reason I loved Ghost and Ari is because they had that same flavor of just like cute, adorable loyalty piece that the other couple that I've seen, like, they had that as well, but it just wasn't as like fluffy sweet. I really like that. And then Win is about Danny and Win from the first book, from Soul Eater, going on a journey to try to extend Danny's lifespan, because Win lives for like, I don't know, 20,000 years or something. And so he can't bear the thought of like Danny eventually dying in the space of like another like 60 years. And so they decided to do something about it. Both scenes have really great smut in it. I really love the spicy scenes, but also just love how cute they are. They're so cute, you guys. Like, check out the Monster series. I know you might be worried about reading a book about literal monster boning, but don't be worried about that. It's totally natural. It's fine. Don't think about it. Just read a good book. You know? If they're good books. Like, just read them for that. So those are the 5-star reads I've had so far this year. I'm pretty proud of these, actually. I know I'm very liberal with the 4 stars, but 5 stars are pretty rare, so I think 9 within the space of a little over 6 months, like, I love that for me. And I would not be surprised if when I film 5-star reads at the end of the year, a lot of them are from the Monstrous series. I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you got some recommendations out of it. I hope you check these books out. Leave me a comment if you are planning on checking out these books, especially if it's the Monstrous series. And like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a video. I upload vlogs every week so you know what I'm reading and what my opinions are in real time. And I will check you guys in the next video. Bye!